Hello, and welcome to the Mommy and Me podcast. This podcast is hosted by a mommy and daughter duo. We dive deep into the things of life from our very own perspectives. We help Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z deal with the trials of life. We cross-connect the age groups to see eye to eye and get a better understanding of why we each do what we do. So stay tuned and let's get into the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mommy and Me podcast. I'm Nicole, the daughter.
And I'm Simone, the mom.
And thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Y'all, I feel like this right here, this is something that's not really talked about often enough. Every mother experiences it. She doesn't know how to transition into motherhood. She doesn't get it. We need help as moms. So today, I just want to hop right into this topic because it's such a good one. It's such a good one. So mom, transitioning into motherhood, what was your experience in that?
Woo! All right. Well, the transition into motherhood, almost 30 years ago now, well, it was something else. Let me tell you. At least I initially had help when I went home from the hospital. And I know not everybody has that, but I was able to stay with my mom for the first week or two after having each of you, all three of you, which helped because I happened to have had 3 C-sections. So initially, by the time I had you're the third of the 3, it was nice to have the help, but I felt a little more comfortable in my role as a mother. With the second child, with your brother, I felt comfortable in my role as a mother, but uncomfortable because I had 2 children. That was the balance, that I had to get. But with my first child, I thought I was too young, and I didn't think that I even know how to take care of myself well enough, and much less this little tiny human being. I remember I used to, coming home, actually, the day that I was getting discharged from the hospital, one of the nurses that took care of me, and I actually worked with her on that labor and delivery unit as a unit secretary while I was attending nursing school. But she said to me as I was crying, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't take care of this baby on my own because they needed to help me so much, while I was there. And she sat me down and she says, no, you can do this. This baby needs you. This baby needs to know that you love him and that you're there for him because he has nobody else. Your dad, but being the mother, you're the nurturer, right? So I think it all pretty much boiled down to learning to have a routine for baby and me, getting home, getting situated, learning what likes, what dislikes the child had, what I can tolerate as a parent, a new parent, how to take care of myself, like getting in the shower, just to take a shower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You remember how you felt. It's like, oh, I just want to take a shower for 5 minutes and not have to worry about the baby crying. Learning how to breastfeed.
That was painful.
Yeah, it was. It really was, As a result of that, that's a whole nother segment. But so getting back on topic, I realized that I couldn't do it alone. If I had to, I would. Again, I'm speaking from my own personal experience. At the time, I thought that I was ill-equipped to be a mother. So your dad, he helped as much as he could, but we were both relatively young. But the thing that I needed the most was to be able to maintain who I was and not get lost in that. Mm-hmm. The first few months were a little hectic, healing from the incision, learning, you know, when my baby should sleep and shouldn't sleep. And that's when I learned that I need to sleep with my child and get up and be active with my child.
Mhm.
So laundry and all those types of things got done when the baby was awake and in my little papoose that I walked around the house with. And when it was time to lay down, I laid down and took naps. And honestly, that's how I got through acclimating myself to becoming a mom.
So I want to talk about that because there's a few things that you mentioned that like stood out to me. And I remember talking to you about all of this, like, how do I do this? What do I do? I didn't, I was still shocked that this little baby
Yeah.
was in my arms. And I remember just wanting to pass him off to you so much because I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is really
Mhm.
hard. And thankfully, by the grace of God, I was with you,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there are some people that don't have the help, they don't have the support, and we can give them some advice too.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the things that you mentioned was resting while baby rested,
Mhm.
counting. When an infant is, or when a baby is young, like an infant, they take a couple naps throughout the day, which is awesome. So in that first morning nap, you may not want to take a nap. You
Right.
know, you may want to just stay up and get some work done, take your shower. Again, like mom said, I think taking a shower is such a peaceful escape. Like if you
Yeah.
can't leave the house, there's no responsibilities in the shower. You wash your hair, you wash your
Mhm.
face, do a facial, because baby's gonna sleep for about an hour or two or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do that. But I think as moms, we begin to put aside who we are. We
Yeah.
begin to get so consumed in this new title of mom that like we forget to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true because I remember not wanting to. There was a period of time where I said, I don't want to get my, and if this was a big thing for me back in the day, I don't want to get my hair done. I don't want to get my nails done. I was crying. Um, I didn't want to get massages. I didn't want to do anything because I just felt like I did not know who I was anymore because
Mm.
there's so much demand with the breastfeeding and with the changing of the diapers and the burping and the colic and the sleeping and
Oh,
the sleep it's so demanding. And what I was used to was, okay, I might feel the baby move, but
mhm.
then when it settles down in my tummy, I can go ahead and get my sleep. That wasn't happening anymore. That was not happening anymore.
Yeah.
So we can't put the baby on automatic pilot, you know.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Yes, because that little thing's there and that little baby needs to know that he's secure, or she. And I think the biggest thing we need to realize is that the baby needs to feel safe.
Mm.
And a part of that, right,
Mhm.
is their immediate needs.
Hey y'all, let's take a quick break to shout out our sponsors. Who are you? How are you supposed to behave? And what in the world is a woman's true identity? Society has had women confused about who they really are. But no more. In 60-Day Affirmations for Daughters, Wives, and Mothers, Nicole dives deep into the Bible and breaks down who you really are in Christ. In this book, you'll realize who you are, what you're called to do, and recognize the power and authority that is gifted to you as the daughter of the Most High God. This is not a book to skip over. If you are someone or you know someone that's been struggling to discover their identity, this is the book for you. So don't wait any longer. Grab your book, grab your copy by going to NicoleCOdom.com/books. Again, that's NicoleCOdom.com/books. Now let's get back into the episode.
Feel comfortable, they start crying.
Yeah.
If they have a pamper that's wet or dirty, oh, this is different, it's uncomfortable, they start crying. If they have a little gas, oh my gosh, they start crying. So those are the types of things you should check for. Maybe a chafed diaper area.
Mm-hmm.
Clean it. Don't just wipe it with wipes. Clean it off with soap and water to cleanse the skin and, neutralize it a little more from that acid from the urine. So, yeah. And then in addition to keeping baby safe as the bottom line, get some exercise.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, right? Exercise helps. Stretching, not necessarily sit-ups and anything aggressive until you're cleared after your 6-week checkup, but stretching is good. Just isotonic, meaning you just get yourself in one position and just hold that position.
Mm-hmm.
Do your neck and your shoulders and do neck rolls. That's self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you really start to reincorporate, okay, I need to feel good too.
Right. Because one of the things that, you and I joke about a lot, remember that meme where the plant was just lump and
Yeah.
it was like, oh, somebody get the mother of the house, fix her attitude, something.
Yeah.
Because it's really important that as women, we are influencers.
Yes.
Naturally. And we impact what happens in the home.
Yes.
If we're not good, nobody else is good.
Good. Exactly.
So I think prioritizing taking care of yourself is so important. And again, this episode is someone help her, but you have to help yourself also.
Exactly. You can't wait for somebody to recognize that there is something off with you. It's okay for you to cry. It is okay for you to be frustrated, but don't stay there. You have to understand that this is not a normal position for you to be in. Realize that your circumstances have changed, but it doesn't mean that it's changed for the worse.
Right.
You just have to learn to adapt and adjust. That's even greater than pivoting. It's not a matter of pivoting. You need to learn to adapt and adjust who you are. Well, adjust how you conduct your daily activities, because now it's including another little child, another human being.
And you and I talked recently about this, because really you can't put off who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put off who you are. Like mom just said, bring them they got to adapt to you. You have to adapt to being a mother. They have to adapt to your schedule. They have to adapt to your life also. So I know when I gave birth, I put away all of my art stuff. I got rid of it. I, donated it. I did whatever. And I felt that I could no longer create as an artist because I was a mother.
Right.
And fast forward to now where Jace is 19, 20 months. And I literally just have such an urge to create. I have not been able to put down my canvases. I have not been able to put down my ink. I have not been able to put down my paintbrush. And I'm experimenting and actually taking it more serious at this point. But the thing is, it brings me so much joy where I'm able to do it every day after he goes for his evening bedtime,
Absolutely. But that's something you look forward to, because you've returned mentally, right? Not just physically doing it, but mentally you've checked back in, if you will, to realize and to yourself. And you realize I'm missing something because it's your gifting that you're not operating in.
Oh.
Okay. So if you have a gift, a God-given gift, and you enjoy it, you thoroughly enjoy it, and it's something that you're being called to do because we all are creators.
Yes.
And when you're not creating, well, of course you created a baby, but when you're neglecting the side of you that you were blessed to be, you are not going to feel like your whole self.
Exactly.
It is so important to remain grounded and remain rooted in who you are. Now, if you're a teenage mom and you might not be sure of that, of who you are, it's okay. Because there's certain things you might like. You might like, and please forgive me, I'm not trying to simplify anything, but you might like watching cartoons or something, or you might like watching, it's okay.
Yeah.
When your baby goes to sleep and you need time for yourself, scroll on social media or something that gives you a release, an outlet. If you're a content creator, you can still create your content.
Yes.
And can continue to be who you were created to be, because we all have our own gifting.
That's really good.
Thank you, baby.
And the thing I want to put in it, the thing I want to add to that is bring baby into your environment.
It's important.
Bring them into, if you are a photographer,
Yeah.
take them out, get them a baby camera. They have that. Even if they're an infant or a toddler or a preschooler, whatever age they are, they will love to do something with you.
Yes.
So not only is this a way for you to really do what you love to do, but now you get joy. Yeah. And baby gets joy because they're hanging out with you. They're able to do what you love to do. And it opens up the door for an opportunity for them to explore themselves. So now, if you're an athlete, go out to the fields and still do your drills, still practice, still hit the bat, and get a T-ball, get a T-stand, and bring them out there with the little helmets. They look so cute. If you are a surgeon, look, you may not have all the resources. Whether if you're a surgeon, you probably got resources anyways. But just being respectful of everybody's budget.
Right.
You don't have to have a whole room dedicated to fake surgery. You can have a potato. And some baby scissors, and you have your different equipment, get some, regardless. Is what I'm saying is you can create an environment for them to explore themselves as you do what you love to do also. Precisely.
You can share that, because what babies and children do. Okay, of course, we've talked about that with respect to the child getting older and being able to conceptually understand what you're doing. Okay, it's not like you're just trying to put scissors in a 2-month-old's hand, but they emulate what they see. So if you have hobbies, if you have a business, if you have things that you are drawn to do or you're called to do all the time, share it with your little one, because it's a seed that you're planting. You are planting a seed within a seed. You are bound to get.
Wow. Say that one more time.
You are for the people in the back, where you are planting a seed within a seed. You are bound to get a harvest.
Wow. Oh, y'all better tweet that. Tweet it. Tweet it. Okay.
Yes. And remember, plant good seed, because you also reap what you sow. Okay,
We
what
could
am I
just end the
thinking?
podcast right
Let's go.
now.
Thank you for joining us. Someone else. Okay.
Wow,
Yes. So be
that's
careful
really
what
powerful.
yeah. Yeah, that is actually, yes. Thank you, Father. It's so true. So be mindful of what you are sowing into your children and what they see, because it does
That
come home.
means put away the alcohol, put away
Yeah,
the smoke, put away the bad environments,
right.
and really, if you don't want your child to grow up in that, stop
Mhm.
creating that environment.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's as easy as making a decision. Well, I shouldn't say as easy. It is as direct as making a decision. You can make a decision to or not to do something.
But yeah, and that's the thing. It is easy to make a decision.
Yeah.
I believe if you truly desire for your child and for yourself to get out of that environment,
Mm-hmm.
it's making a decision. And you, once you make that decision, be decisive, stick to it, and you will get it done. And you could do anything that your mind is set out to,
Right.
by the grace of God. You will find a way, find a safe way, find a legal way,
Right.
find a way that can get you guys out of that environment. So if you say, you want to stop doing something, get an accountability partner. If you have struggled with stopping in the past,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
can do it, but always find a greater reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. That's awesome. It's a good word.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
I want to talk about like taking care of your emotional state. We kind of touched on that already
Mm.
by still keeping yourself up with your desires, your likes and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but the emotional state of that true transition, like
Right.
you're transitioning but it's hard, you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go into depression. And I just kind of want to go back and emphasize a few points.
Okay.
So we mentioned exercising.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to kind of touch a little bit on the scientific part of it, if you can, Mom,
Mm-hmm.
and what that does for us.
So we all have dopamine hormone. I don't know if you all heard of that. Serotonin hormones within our body. It's in our brain releases those hormones when we have done something that our brain likes. Okay. And even though you might not think that you like exercising, or you might, when it gives you a feeling of euphoria almost. When you think about how you feel if you've walked really far, or if you've maybe gone to a spin class, it might be tough in the moment, but as you're pumping, your legs are pumping on that bicycle, and you're like, okay, I got it. There's a certain level where you get over the pain and you get over the discomfort, and you really start to kind of enjoy the class.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from past experience. But when the class is finished and you get off and your legs are now firing on all cylinders, the lactic acid's being released and all that stuff. But in your mind, number one, it's a sense of accomplishment. You
Mm.
did that for you, right? You have to, those types of things matter. You're doing that for you.
Mhm.
And with respect to exercising. Number two, the dopamine receptors are now heightened, and the serotonin release is heightened. So you really start to have that feeling of, wow, I feel so good.
Yeah.
I feel really good. And you couple that with even exercising outside. So the vitamin D aspect from the sun also helps with mood stability and stimulating your mental state, right? Stimulating your well-being, your sense of well-being.
And I want to stick right there real quick, and then we could transition to the next topic that I want to talk about. But Going outside, that part
Yeah.
right there, you get the sun, you feel good, you get some heat on your skin, you get a little tan, you
Yeah.
know. But one thing that you always emphasized to me, and same thing with my husband, was going outside, going for a walk. If you
Hmm.
don't want to do a spin class, if you don't want to exercise,
Yeah,
going for a walk is so peaceful.
it is. You put
You
baby in
can
the stroller and you just go for a nice little peaceful walk.
exactly. So when you go for a walk, you're able to clear your mind, you're able to cry, you're able to kind of express yourself, take your journal out there, sit
Hmm.
by a lake, safe distance, because
It was
baby,
because, yeah.
but wherever you can, if you're at the park, go, where whatever you have available to you. But it is such a peaceful time, especially if you can't do that in your own home.
And in addition to that, the sun is excellent for the baby as well. Now, you don't want to stay out there initially, you don't want to go out in the heat of the day. We're not talking about going out the prime hours of the day when the sun is really hot, because babies are, I forget the percentage, I think it's 70 to 80% water or 90% water. So they would deplete themselves and get dehydrated quite quickly. So you don't want to go out in the heat of the day, like noon or 1. So optimally, it's probably very early, maybe right after they wake up, maybe 7, 8 o'clock, just as
Yeah.
it's, breaking dawn and that fresh morning dew is still out there. That's enough sunlight for baby. And especially some babies may have jaundice, which is something with the biliary system and the liver, where it's not clearing the toxins in the body as it should. And when they are in the hospital, if they have to be treated for jaundice, what they do is put the babies in an incubator. And they have what's called billy lights on them. Well, the billy lights and the little babies are wearing, eye masks. Oh, it's so precious. But the billy lights are giving the baby the vitamin D and or the UV rays or whatever that's required to be able to help excrete and eliminate the buildup of the bile in the system.
Mm.
So that yellow tinge and stuff that the baby might have will eventually go away with the Billy Light treatment. Similarly, taking your child out for a walk, it would help with their mood, their stimulation, and you bring them home and they're ready for a nap, even though they've probably slept during your walk. So
It's the best
it does.
thing. It's
Walking
the
is
best.
yeah. Yeah, you have put them in a stroller, stroll them. If you have a little papoose, put them in the papoose. They'll still love the breeze and all that when you're walking. So,
That's awesome, Mom. So the next thing that I want to hop into is doctor's appointments and preparing for
mm,
outings. Boy,
listen, listen. You and your house are getting packed up in a diaper bag.
in one whole diaper, but okay.
Come on. But I know we were talking before and you had a great idea. And I think you got it from a great woman who told you, to go ahead and keep a baby bag packed at all times with extra clothing, diapers, and all of that, right?
Yeah.
It's just easier to grab and go. And you put your little essential items that might not be in the bag, like, at the time that you need to leave it, but always have your diaper bag ready to go so that you don't have to think about it when you have to head out. So, doctor's appointments. The first thing you're going to have to really work through after having your child is the 2-week checkup with the doctor. I'm sorry, with the pediatrician for the baby after you leave the hospital. And this is considering all things go well. It's a normal delivery, normal C-section, whatever. You're discharged in a timely fashion. Typically, there's a 2-week checkup after that, okay, for baby. And for mom, they're considering all things are equal and going well, 6 weeks. Yeah. And then regularly scheduled after that. You have this little new person with you for 2 weeks, that first checkup, you need to start getting ready several hours before.
Yeah.
So ideally, you might not want to take the very first appointment in the day. I'm just saying, you might not want to take the 9 a.m. appointment because
Don't
you
do
really
it.
start. Nope, don't do it. You're going to probably have to start about 6:00 a.m. for a 9 a.m. visit. And the reason I say that is because baby still doesn't quite have a schedule yet. They're working on it. They're getting better with their sleep patterns. But I would consider, and I would recommend that you consider the time that your appointment is. So if you have a 12 p.m. appointment and it'll take you 30 minutes to drive there, you're going to need to allocate time to be able to get yourself down, get baby strapped into the car, plus your drive time and all that. So I'm saying give yourself 45 to 50 minutes for travel time so that you don't have to rush. All right. So now we're backed up to about 12 to 11. Oh, let's say 11:15. Okay. What you want to do before that, right before that, is maybe top baby off. If the baby hasn't eaten for an hour or so, you want to feed your baby and make sure they have clean Pampers and stuff. Before that is when you're getting ready. So maybe for the a half an hour or so before that, 10:30 or so, you're getting yourself in order. But before that, you've gotten baby bathed, you've gotten the baby fed and down for a nap, their morning nap, and so that they would be ready for the travel. It's a big thing. It really is. You remember that first time that you were getting ready to go, and I was like, honey, you're gonna have to, and you're trying to get out of the house, and you had like 10 minutes to get there.
Oh, it was awful.
We were further than 10 minutes from the doctor's office.
It was a 25,
Yeah.
30 minute, 30-minute drive.
Yes. Yes.
I was so flustered and overwhelmed because I really didn't understand the importance of preparing in advance.
Yes. Because you didn't have to. You could roll out of the bed and, okay, you need me there at, I had to go to class at 12, and 11:50 you're getting out of the bed to go to class.
Literally.
Yeah. So the recommendation basically is give yourself a timeline, and I would say write down a schedule. If you write those time frames down. How much time do you think it's going to travel? How much time for travel and getting baby in and out of the car safely? Consider the weather. Also, is it raining? Is it snowing? Is it hot? Is it whatever? So that also plays a factor in your travel time. And then work yourself way backwards from that, but always get baby ready first so that you can just do a minor cleanup and top off before you're ready to go, and get yourself together last so that you can do a self-check. Okay, I got this, and this, and we're good.
Yep. And if you have a young baby, it's easy because they could just lay back down. You put them in a safe place, or you put them in a bouncer, you put them somewhere, and it's like, okay, they're set. They may fall back asleep while you're getting dressed, which is awesome. Sometimes, because then you're gonna have to wake them up to get back in the car seat. But now it is really important to work backwards. And what mom mentioned earlier about having your bag prepared, that helps you cut down on the rush of that day, because it's gonna be a busy day already. So if you know that you're going out to that doctor's appointment, or you're going out for lunch the next day, have that bag ready that night, or even the weekend prior. It's seriously that serious, because you won't understand the importance of it until you experience it.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I do is I have some Ziploc bags full of clothes. And if baby has a blowout, at least now you could put those dirty clothes in that Ziploc bag, and it is just that simple.
Exactly.
It won't get everywhere. You won't have to,
Yeah. And it
be like,
contains the smell. Yeah.
yeah.
And Ziploc bags are really good.
So, also, like, when you're making plans, and try to consider when they go to sleep and when they're waking up and everything. I know it may fluster at the beginning, but once they get on a pretty consistent routine, you'll be able to pick it up. But make plans around their nap times. Be strategic, because I've made that mistake plenty of times.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not
Oh,
cute because the baby wants to sleep and now they're not cooperating, especially as they get older.
yeah.
And they get cranky and moody and irritable, but it's because we've not given probably the best consideration to their times, that they want to rest. But when you have more than one child, before we move on to another segment, when you have more than one child, it's pretty much the same premise. I would encourage you to get the children ready, probably the littlest first, or the oldest first, down to the littlest one. That way the older one has a little bit more self-control, and work your way back to the infant before getting yourself in order.
That's good, Mom. So the last thing I want to talk about before we get ready to wrap this up, we have a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I really want to talk about help. The last thing is that help. If you are not with child, or if you are in a position, if you were the grandparents, if you were the aunt, the uncle, the cousin, the sister, the brother, whomever you are, help that person that has the baby.
Yes.
If you have good intentions, if you are pure, if you know you're not going to hurt that child, if you have a short temper, don't do it.
Right.
But one of the key things that I want to mention in this episode is helping those around you, if they have a child or whatever the case is, because as we mentioned earlier, it is so hard for a new mother, to even take a shower.
Yes.
The mom guilt is real. Depression is real. And you don't know until you experience it.
And you don't even realize. When I had postpartum depression, it looked like, for me, it manifested through incessant crying. I would cry at everything. I'm an emotional person already. I might tear up talking about it just on its, but no, I'm not depressed, but I'm just saying. But it for me, it manifested as crying and withdrawal. I didn't want to be involved. I didn't want to go to functions. I didn't want to do anything. I just figured I would just be like you, right? A mother to the baby, and everything else was what it was, because I never had thoughts of harming my child. I've gotten angry, when I couldn't figure out how to stop the colicky cries and stuff. That's frustrating.
It's very.
But I did go on, after I stopped breastfeeding, I did go on Zoloft for a small period of time. And that helps with mood stabilization and stuff. And they kept increasing my dosage until I almost felt like I was out of my body and had very delayed reactions and stuff. So I am not advocating that you don't get Zoloft or get on some type of prescriptive meds. I'm not advocating that you do. But what I am saying is, if you are noticing things that are not right with you, or they don't seem typical of your behavior, it is normal, for one, because you've had a huge hormonal shift. But more importantly, speak to your healthcare provider so that they can help you work through those things, so that what you're feeling doesn't escalate into something that could readily have been controlled.
Right.
You don't want to harm yourself. You don't want to harm the baby. When we think about someone help her, sometimes you have to kind of tap in to say, I've got to help myself too, because
Yeah.
only you know how you're feeling. You know, we're so inclined to say, hey, how things, how's the baby? How, oh, you're so cute. You know, and everybody gives attention to the baby. Nobody really asks the mom how they're doing. And if they do, it's almost like an afterthought. Oh, hey, hi. Oh, yeah, you're doing good. You look good. You know, they talk about their weight. They talk about how, you know,
Quickly they
oh, yeah,
recovered.
how quickly they recovered, this, that, and the other. But all of that is fine for what it's worth. But what we really need to clue into is the psychosocial impact
Mm.
of where this transition is leaving that mother mentally. Where is it bringing her to? What place are you entering into psychosocially that needs to be addressed?
And this is really important because as you're talking, I just thought of some really bad things that mothers have done to their children because they were not mentally well.
Yeah.
And giving birth in any way, shape, or form, whether it's C-section or vaginally, it is traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And it is literally a life-altering experience. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are in somebody's life that has had a child, check on their mental, check on their spiritual, and not just, physical is one thing, yes, cool, but it's really mentally. Give them a break if you have that opportunity. If you know that they're
Yeah,
a single mother, give them a break.
right, for
Come
sure.
over and watch Netflix with the baby, with the toddler, with the child, whoever. But there are too many mothers that have hurt their child or worse because of the frustration. And the
Right.
baby, you can't blame anything on the child because
Mhm.
they are so young. They don't get it. They don't understand. They're just
Right.
being children. But as
Mhm.
adults, it just help. Just
Right.
help. Just come over to talk, come over
Yeah.
to let them sleep,
Mhm.
just take the
Do
baby
it.
out for some ice cream,
Yeah,
something.
no. Get the
The
baby up for dinner.
child, take the child, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But the thing is also you have to consider the first 2 weeks after a child is born, ideally, there should not be any visitors that are not within the household because the baby hasn't had their shots,
Mm.
right? So you gotta start the vaccinations. So ideally, it should be 2 weeks, but the first 2 weeks are the most crucial. They're the most critical because that's the adaptation period.
Yeah.
So prayerfully, somebody has, you know, if you have a bank of friends or that can stay in the house with you you know, and not just be in and out and doing whatever, because
Mm.
babies' immune systems are just developing. You know, you're not supposed to take your baby out when they're 2 weeks old. I mean, before they're 2 weeks old, because of that. They have to develop those immune systems. So those are some considerations. However, I agree. Take an opportunity to help the mom out when you can.
And my last point, don't help if you have no pure intentions.
You better say that again.
Do not help if you have no pure intentions.
Right.
I mean, we're giving this advice with a pure heart.
Yeah.
We know not everybody has a right mind. We know not
Right.
everybody is pure. Not everybody is integral.
Right.
So, as a mother, as a grandmother, as whoever you are, you have to be discerning who you are
Mm-hmm.
giving your child to.
Absolutely.
You must be discerning who you're giving your child to because
Mm-hmm.
just be careful. Just be careful.
Careful and use your. If something seems off to you, trust it. If the baby is old enough to look at somebody and cry, don't give that baby to that child, to that person.
And it's
Because
real, y'all.
yes, babies are very, very intuitive. They might not know exactly what's wrong, but they will sense when something is off. So um, I want to say, with respect to the fact that we want to help moms and we want people to go over there, don't be so desperate for the help that you lose sight of your responsibility and your spirit of discernment when it comes to certain people. So you still have a responsibility to your newborn as well as to yourself, because you don't need that type of negativity resting on you should something happen. So just be wise.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. Take this knowledge and applied wisdom to
Yeah,
it.
come on.
Okay. So that's my little 2 cents.
That's right. So, 2 cents, no change. All right.
2 cents, no change, Jesus, no.
Just making up stuff.
I'm saying, well, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to this powerful episode. I really hope that you guys have been helped,
Yeah.
this has been helpful to you. And,
Let us know. Give us feedback. We do want to hear from you. We want to hear from our listeners. If you liked it, tell us why. Don't just say, "Oh, that was, corny." If you if you liked it or didn't like it, give us feedback, because we're here for you. We want to be able to enlighten and empower the generations, Generation X, Generation Z, millennials. We're here for you. Okay. And let us know if you have any questions.
Oh, honesty time. I want to
Honesty
mention
time.
Honesty time is a segment, is an episode where we take your questions and answer them live, or well, not live, but we're recording them and answering them and giving you some wisdom and our input. So we'll have that link in the description below, but we really want to get you guys interactive and, be able to participate in this with you, because our goal is truly to help you. So, we don't really know how to help if we don't know your
situation
challenges. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we're here for, because we want to be able to bridge the gap so that everybody understands everybody else. I've been there. So I was able to talk to my daughter and she was able to receive it. And now she feels equipped moving forward with her children when the time comes. Everybody helps somebody. We're a village.
Exactly. So thank you guys. Be sure to follow us on social media, and all of our social links will be listed in the description below. Our website also, for that form to submit your questions. And
until next time, fist bumps and deuces. Y'all take care.
bye.
Bye.